Welcome back. I'm Dr. Cindy Ross, cancer specialist and functional medicine doctor. And tonight we're going to talk about something that has the power to change your health, your energy, your mood, and your longevity. But before we get started, Vita is here with me. I don't know if you guys saw her, but she is here. So she is my co host tonight. So you might not even know that it's happening inside you right now, but you have inflammation. And if you've been listening to the last few weeks, I talk a lot about inflammation, how I fight inflammation, how I'm constantly working every single day to rid my body of inflammation. Hi, Vita. Quick disclaimer before we get started, this is for educational purposes only. I am not here to diagnose, treat, or replace your doctor. Always check with your healthcare provider before making any changes. And remember, if you have any questions, please put them in the feed. Let's keep it focused on the subject tonight. But I am always happy to answer anything by email or in the future, so feel free to drop it in the comments. And I am live on Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. Vita, you're distracting me. I think she's ready to go eat. She's been down here with me all day. Okay, let's dive in. So I want you to imagine something with me. Picture a small campfire. At first it's warm, it's helpful, and it keeps you safe. But now imagine that no one ever puts that fire out. It's just something smoldering day after day, week after week, year after year. And over time, the woods burn, the smoke spreads, and the fire starts damaging everything around it. And that's exactly what chronic inflammation does in your body. It's that low grade fire that never shuts off, and it's one of the biggest root causes of fatigue, weight gain, brain fog, joint pain, skin issues, digestive problems, and even the serious diseases that we fear most. So, what is inflammation? Well, at its core, inflammation is your body's natural defense system. Think about when you cut your finger, it gets red, swollen, maybe even warm, and that's acute inflammation. And it's a good thing. It's your immune system sending in the repair crew. Once the job is done, the swelling goes down, the redness fades, and you're back to normal. But the problem isn't acute inflammation. The problem is when the repair crew never leaves. Chronic inflammation. It's like leaving the construction site open forever. The workers are still hammering away, but now they're damaging the building instead of fixing it. And here's the scary part. Chronic inflammation is often silent in the beginning. Chronic inflammation is what feeds cancer cells. Chronic inflammation is what leads you open to pretty much any disease. So you might not feel pain right away. Instead, it shows up as constantly being tired or wired, extra weight around your midsection that you can't lose. And no matter what diet you try, you're not dropping pounds. Brain fog. I have so many patients that come to me about brain fog. Like you can't think as clearly or remember things like you used to. Also aches and stiffness that make you feel older than you are. Believe me, I live this. I've lived it. And that is why I'm so passionate about inflammation. And most of the time when I talk with patients about inflammation, they do think it's in their joints, right? And they think it's if their joints aren't hurting that they don't have inflammation. But a lot of times it shows up as skin flare-ups, acne, eczema, rashes. I just had a patient yesterday that was telling me that her son had a rash, and I was like, it's absolutely coming from inflammation in the gut. Digestion that's off. Are you bloating? Are you constipated? Do you have heartburn? All of these are signs of inflammation. And over years, if nothing changes, it can contribute to much bigger issues such as heart disease, diabetes, Alzheimer's, autoimmune conditions, and yes, even cancer. So let's talk about what's fueling the fire in the first place. I'm all about getting to the root cause. When you come to me for labs, we draw everything because it's the only way to see the full picture. I don't compartmentalize the body. I'm looking to see what exactly is going on with the body as a whole. Because if one thing is off, it throws everything else off. So let's talk about diet. The SAD diet. Does everybody know what the SAD diet is? It's the standard American diet. Loaded with processed foods, refined sugar, inflammatory oils like canola, soybean, and corn oil. They send your blood sugar on a roller coaster, feed bad gut bacteria, and they spike inflammatory chemicals in your body. Stress. This is a huge one, especially if you've gone through a divorce, or even like right now. I see a lot of kids are going off to college. Moms are upset. That is a lot of stress, and you might think that you're dealing with it well, but you're internalizing it, and you're probably more than likely not sleeping the best at night, and it's causing you to pump out more cortisol than what's needed. A little cortisol is fine, but big amounts, it's an alarm system. It's going to throw inflammation. And when it's at an all time and it starts breaking down your tissues and driving inflammation, that's when we have to cut it off. So we got to make sure that we keep your stress levels down. So if you're not meditating, start meditating. Poor sleep. My husband is struggling with this one right now. He has not had a good night's sleep over like the past few weeks. So you got to really see what's going on. Maybe it's a supplement you're taking. Maybe you're eating too late. Those are a couple of things. Something that I've been really trying to be adamant about personally is eating before 6:30, having my last meal, and pretty much being fasted for 14 to 16 hours. That way, my stomach has time to calm down. I'm not bloating. I'm not having any inflammatory issues at night before I go to sleep. That's going to help your sleep quality as well. So remember this, just one night of poor sleep can raise your inflammatory markers, things like your CRP, high sensitivity CRP. The very next day, it can actually raise it. So if you don't sleep well and then you do your labs, your CRP is probably going to be elevated. If you're running on 5 or 6 hours a night of sleep, which I'm guilty of because I hate to sleep. I preach it, and that is something that I am really working on right now. I feel like I got everything else going my way. But sleep is something that I do struggle with. I don't have a hard time sleeping. I mean, as soon as my head hits the pillow, I'm out. And I'm exhausted from lifting so heavy every day right now. But I hate to sleep. I feel like my life is passing me by, and especially days that I feel really good. Like I just don't want to go to sleep, and maybe it's fear of missing out. I'm not sure. But 5 to 6 hours is not going to cut it. 7 to 8 to 9 hours is what you should be shooting for. 7 being the minimal. 8 to 9 being optimal. Your body is in constant repair mode, but it never catches up if you're getting 5 or 6 hours. Toxins. We're surrounded by environmental chemicals in our air, in our water, cleaning products, personal care items. They're everywhere. Even mold exposure is in your home and your workplace, and it can keep your immune system in attack mode. I met with a patient today, and we were talking about she's actually having issues sleeping as well. And I was telling her, maybe try some cold plunging. Not ice baths, but cold plunging. Maybe just, regular bath water on cold and just soaking in it. It's probably going to be around 55 to 65 degrees and soaking in it for about 10 minutes. It will reduce inflammation. It does everything that it should. Is as if you were doing an ice bath. But without shocking the system right before you go to bed. And that's something my husband loves to do too. I like a shorter, colder ice bath. He likes the colder plunge and sits for a longer time. So see what works for you. I think it's great for fighting inflammation. 70 to 80%, we're talking about gut health now. 70 to 80% of your immune system lives in your gut. Do you get that stat? 70 to 80% of your immune system lives in your gut. If your gut lining is damaged, what we call the leaky gut, tiny food particles and toxins slip into the bloodstream, and your immune system reacts like they're invaders. So that is something that we got to really watch. So many people have leaky gut, and a lot of people don't even know what leaky gut means. But it's those junctions get loose, and those food particles go into your bloodstream, and your body starts fighting it, just like it's a foreign invader. And it causes inflammation in the body, and you're wide open to chronic illness, such as cancer. Sedentary lifestyle. This is another one that I was just talking about with a patient, and her job keeps her behind the desk for pretty much, I think, 8 to 12 hours a day. And they are pretty much comparing, the studies, are pretty much comparing a sedentary lifestyle now to smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day. That's how unhealthy it is, and it is like the number one leading cause of death. Movement is medicine, and when you sit all day, circulation slows, lymphatic drainage slows, and inflammation builds. Even for me, when I'm guilty of it. I sit behind my desk and I get, we got a question coming in. What would you recommend for a 51-year-old woman who is starting a rebuild process from the inside out? So I'm about to get to that, and I will go through the steps that you're going to take for that, and we'll go right into it. Thank you so much for the question. But I am guilty of a sedentary lifestyle myself, especially in the past, because I get so busy working. I'm like, okay, just 5 more minutes. I'm just going to return these emails. And then by the time I know it, the whole day has gone by and I've sat behind my desk for 10 hours. I did that for many years. But even now, I've noticed when I sit behind the desk for even like 4 to 6 hours, and I'm not getting up moving. And even my watch will tell me, like, hey, it's time to stand. If you have a smartwatch, definitely make sure that it's alerting you to stand, just to remind you to stand, to get up, move around, walk to the mailbox, go check the mail, go walk the dogs, anything that's movement. But I get my workout done in the morning, fasted cardio, I go lift weights, and then I'm like, okay, I'm ready to get on it, and I start seeing patients at 10 o'clock, and then by the time I know it, it's 5, 6 o'clock, and I haven't moved too much, and my ankles are a little bit swollen, and I can just tell, and so I've been really making sure I've been doing the ice baths, and I try to move a little bit more. So make sure if you have a desk job and you're sitting behind the desk for long periods of time, get up and move around. Your body will thank you for it. Hidden infections. This is one. I have a really dear friend. He's in Fairhope and he owns Tooth and Co. And his name is Dr. Chase Williams. I'm going to have him on a podcast. We keep talking about it, but we talk about dental issues and how I cannot tell you how many times he has found an infection that just got surpassed, and it was draining actually into the sinus cavity, and no one ever picked up on it, but it was driving up the white blood cell count, especially in my cancer patients, but they couldn't find the root cause, and it ended up being a dental issue. And then I just sent out my newsletter today. I don't know if you got it or not, but feel free to go to my website and subscribe if you did not get it. But I was talking about the relationship between root canals and breast cancer. It's really scary. So highly recommend reading that little blurb that I came across and decided to repost it. So hidden infections would be dental issues, chronic viruses, lingering bacterial infections. These keep your immune system on without you realizing it. Okay, so how do we calm the fire? And this is back to your question. How are we going to rebuild? So I use what I call calm the fire framework, 4 steps. And you can start this today. Remove. Step number 1, remove. Identify and remove your biggest triggers. For most people, this means cutting down processed foods, refined sugar, and inflammatory oils. Gluten, dairy, soy, and eggs are common culprits too, especially if you have gut or skin symptoms. So I don't eat any processed foods. I don't eat any sugars. I don't do any inflammatory oils. I don't do gluten. I don't do dairy. I don't do any soy. And I just started adding eggs back in a few months ago. And I seem to have really found my rhythm with my diet, and that's really hard for me. But I don't eat out very much, like rarely ever, and it's an ordeal when I do because it's hard to get people to cook without using seed oils. Okay, step number 2, replace. Fill your plate with foods that actively fight inflammation. So that was going to be your dark leafy greens, your cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, cauliflower, berries, strawberries, blackberries, blueberries, raspberries, wild-caught salmon, turmeric, ginger, flax, chia, walnuts, and don't forget hydration. And remember, your hydration needs to include Celtic salt or some type of really, like Celtic salt or sea salt is fine. I'm good with either. Even Baltic salt is fine if you can find it. But I put Celtic salt in mine just to make sure that I'm getting all of my minerals in. And I do that a couple times a day. I just do a little pinch of Celtic salt and with my apple cider vinegar. And then remember to hydrate with clean filtered water. It's one of the most simple anti-inflammatory tools you can do. Step number 3. Mark, I do Celtic salt for the last 6 months. It works great. Yes, and it's really cheap. Like you don't have to do any of those brands out there that are marketing like crazy that are pretty expensive. I'm not going to name them, but they do get pretty expensive. Celtic salt's a great way to be able to get your minerals in. So step number 3, repair. So heal your gut lining and restore healthy digestion. Tools that I use, L-glutamine. First thing in the morning, I do a scoop of L-glutamine in my water. Probiotics, I was on probiotics. I'm not doing probiotics anymore because I am taking BPC 157. I replaced my digestive enzymes and do you do baking soda also? I just joined. I don't know if you were talking about that. Mark, I do not personally do baking soda, but I actually highly recommend it for a lot of my cancer patients. I think it's great to add in, especially for the pH balance. Thank you for asking that. And so, I don't use probiotics and digestive enzymes right now, but that is what I start my patients and clients on is probiotics. Then I get the body healthy enough to where we could start on peptides if that is what you choose to do. But remember, peptides aren't a crutch. They're an enhancement tool. So we got to get the body healthy before you add any enhancement tools. And then something that I add in always, and I have it right here, is sulforaphane. I use Peak Revival sulforaphane. Love them. Or you can just eat your broccoli. I love broccoli too. I get both of them in. Sweat in a sauna. Everybody knows that I love my Good Health sauna. I use it every single morning. I sit for 20 minutes at 150 degrees. It is my morning routine. I sit in there, I meditate, I read. It's where I get my morning going. I even talk to you guys in there. Drink plenty of water, get enough fiber to get things moving as well. And step number 4, restore. So bring your nervous system back into balance. This means managing stress, using breath work, meditation, or simply just walking outside. And then prioritize 7 to 9 hours of sleep. And yes, move your body daily. I work out every day. Even on my active recovery days, I'm working out. Okay? Yay, Jamie got her sauna today. Thanks for tuning in, Jamie. I'm glad you got it. You're going to love it. And resistance training. In my newsletter that I sent out today, I really was heavy on lifting weights, especially because I'm just running into so many people that are perimenopause, menopause. I'm post-menopause, had a full hysterectomy at 23, been fighting bone density issues my entire adult life. So I was really heavy on, just really on heavy weightlifting. Lift as heavy as you can. It's not going to hurt you. And I've just recently, a good friend of mine, Carol Davis, she's a personal trainer here in Orange Beach, and she reminded me about Dr. Stacy Sims. Love her. I read her book this year, and I didn't put 2 and 2 together until she gave me her socials to follow, and I'm in love with what she's saying, and I think it's so true. But 3 things that she really focuses on, especially perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause, is lifting as heavy as you can, at least 4 to 5 times a week, doing some type of jumping, like box jumps, jump rope, any type of movement that you're actually compounding because that's for bone density, and then interval training. I love all 3 of those. Not doing what we've always been taught by doing endless hours of cardio, and of course, if you're still getting regular cycles. Sorry guys, if you're listening, let me talk about this just for a second. But if you're on your regular cycle still and you haven't hit perimenopause, it's completely different for you. But I have so many people coming to me that are in my arena right now. So I feel called to be able to talk about it a little bit more. But it's completely different. And we're going to be joining you guys in the gym. So if you see us, move over. Because we're going to be lifting the heavy weights with you. Mark says, I'm 55 and my wife's 57 and we just started the peptides. She and I'm just getting her started on Chloe. You're gonna love the peptides. I am so passionate about peptides. Make sure you tune into my older. I get them on YouTube. I did some segments over the past couple weeks on peptides, and they're on my website as well. But I'm loving them. They've changed my life, especially when it comes to inflammation. And we'll talk about that for a second before I go any further. So BPC 157 and TB 500 has been a game changer for my inflammation. So where I'm at now with that is I'm not doing okay. So I actually did tear a little bit of not cartilage, scar tissue. I ripped a little scar tissue. I was lifting heavy in my chest and my pec muscle under my breast implant. This happened over the weekend. So I'm up in my BPC again right now to try and heal that, and it's already better. But normally I'm just taking a maintenance of the BPC just for systemic inflammation because, again, I have rheumatoid arthritis, so I'm always fighting inflammation, and you never know where it's coming in from, right? Like, you never know if you're exposed to it environmentally, so we want to make sure that we're constantly in that defense mode and ready to fight it. So BPC 157, TB 500 is something I personally take, and I absolutely love it. I also take NAD, love it for inflammation. What else am I taking? I am taking ipamorelin with CJC. Love it so much. Definitely have gained so much strength from it. I'm really amazed at how much strength, how strong I am from it. It's pretty insane compared to where I was at. So I'm very thankful for that. Hurt my back on prednisone at the moment. Will this affect my workout gains? Yeah, prednisone, not that it's going to affect your workout gains, but now is the time. If you have ever thought about doing peptides, now would be the time to do them, as the prednisone is pretty much depressing the pain. You can start with the peptides for the healing process. Again, I'm not a big fan of being on prednisone because I feel like it can break down the ligaments and the tissues. I know it does both, right? It can definitely help with pain because I've been there and I've taken the prednisone before, but it put on a lot of water weight for me, like 10 pounds of water weight. It was terrible. So just make sure that you try to flush your system, walk a lot, and just take care of your body, listen to it. All right, so let's go into, I got a couple of ebooks I've put together on my website. If you go to the store, lifewellnessforever.com/store, you're going to see a lot of my ebooks on there. There's some free and then some that are very inexpensive. There's a lot of supplement protocols in there, not just supplement protocols, just lifestyle protocols. Also anti-inflammatory recipes. And if you want to go deeper with me, I also have a private online community as well. It's called the Wellness Warriors. We have a whole peptide section. There's a whole cancer section. I share proprietary information in each of them. I love it. It's like my own little community that I've built. The website is lifewellnessforever.com/store for the ebooks, but just go to lifewellnessforever.com and you can find all the information on there. The VIP section is where you can find the online community. I would love to have you guys on there, and I try to share. I don't share every day something, but I try to really by the weekends share a lot of information. All right, so I had a patient, we'll call her Lisa. She came to me absolutely exhausted, 20 pounds heavier than she wanted to be, and she had constant joint pain and brain fog. We didn't put her on the extreme cleanse because you have to start in small steps. If I was to detox you right away without building your body back, you would feel like crap. So if you are inflamed and you're not doing anything for it now, and you think by just doing a detox that's going to rid you of all the toxins, it's going to make you feel worse. You have to open up those drainage pathways, and I have a whole ebook on it. You got to open up those pathways and then start releasing those toxins slowly. You got to go very slow. So we started with small daily anti-inflammatory habits, cleaning up breakfast, walking after dinner, getting better sleep, and within 6 weeks, she'd lost 12 pounds, her joint pain was cut in half, And she told me, I feel like someone turned the lights back on in my brain. And that's exactly how I felt like 6 months ago as well. I was so riddled with inflammation from my injury. I absolutely understand it. I live it. I'm my own guinea pig, and that's why I love to share my information with you guys. Okay, so this is what happens when you lower the inflammation. Your body has space to heal. So that's what we got to do. We got to start in small steps. Inflammation is not the enemy. It's a signal. It's a little God wink, is what I call it. I always say, think of it like living with RA or getting a cancer diagnosis or anything like that. I know this sounds crazy, but think of it as your silver lining, and it's your God wink of saying, get your shit together, right? Get your shit together, get your health in check, because we're giving you a chance. We're giving you a second chance at life, and you better make the most of it. So now is your time. So remember, inflammation is not the enemy, it is your wake up call. It's your body asking for help. And the sooner that you answer the call, the better you're going to feel, the more that you protect your future health, and the longer that you get to enjoy life. So here's your challenge. I want you to pick one thing from tonight and start it tomorrow. Start with step one. Whether it's swapping your cooking oil, adding a veggie to lunch, walking after dinner, or going to bed 30 minutes earlier. I'm going to choose going to bed 30 minutes earlier. That's my challenge for me, okay? Just start. And I promise you, that little baby step, and you do it consistently for 30 days, it's going to make a huge difference. Not just that, but a month from now, you're going to be like, man, that went by really fast. And you're going to look back and you're going to thank yourself so much for just taking that one small step today. And don't forget, go to my website, lifewellnessforever.com, and you can contact me from there if you have any questions. I'm going to answer, I've been on for I'm trying to keep these under 30 minutes. So I'm going to answer just a few questions that came to me this week. And if you guys have any more questions, yay, Jamie says veggies at lunch tomorrow. I eat like 3 to 5 cups of vegetables pretty much every sitting. So I'm always, and especially broccoli. That's my veggie of choice. I eat a lot of broccoli. Okay, so Lisa mentioned brain fog earlier. Want me to share my top 3 brain boosting foods. So I would add in flax. Love flax. Ground flax. Just talked with a patient about that today. She brought in flaxseed. I think I accidentally gave her flax seeds in her order, but ground them in a coffee grinder or whatever. Ground them up. Your body's going to absorb them better. Berries. Love berries. And if you can tolerate eggs, eggs are one of my favorite superfoods as well, okay? Because they are loaded with B vitamins. They're a good fat. They're going to help with brain fog. And for me, they do actually help with inflammation. Go-to breakfast. Mary wanted to know what my go-to breakfast was, and did it help with my inflammation. So what I'm eating now is, I used to eat oatmeal, and it would have berries in it, and then I would do some eggs. But I noticed even the gluten-free oatmeal and the gluten-free grains bothered me, so I don't do any grains whatsoever. I only do plants and animals. That's all I do. So my breakfast, and I did do a post in my newsletter today and I did it on my Facebook yesterday, that said things that I eat on a daily basis. And so, because so many people ask me, but my morning consists of a plate full of vegetables, whether it's zucchini, broccoli, and a plate full of spinach, and I do 2 eggs over medium and 2 additional egg whites. That is my breakfast every single day. I like boring food because for me, food is medicine. I am not a foodie. I cannot be a foodie because I have too much going on with my RA. I have too much inflammation that I fight on a daily basis. So food truly is my medicine. And I know that it's nourishing my body, and I'm grateful for it every single day. So if you're a foodie and you got all these issues and you're riddled with inflammation, I would suggest finding a new hobby besides being a foodie. It is just not in your cards, and there are other things out there to be invested in. But I'm going to say that, but I also, in the same sentence, Like today, I had somebody come to me that said, she loves baking and she's so sad because she's not going to be able to bake. There are so many options out there. Even like uh, for Jason this past weekend, he loves his desserts. So I made him some desserts that had cottage cheese and it had cacao powder and stevia and egg. And I baked it, and he said it was amazing. I didn't eat it because I don't do cottage cheese, but he said it was awesome. So there are so many little tweaks that you can do. So don't get down on yourself just because you don't think that there are options. There are. You just got to dig a little harder. There's so many recipes. And again, my post said something like all the Instagram recipes out there, they can get overwhelming because there's a lot, and I love to follow them as well. But I am very boring and I like consistency and I like knowing that my body's going to feel good after I eat. I don't like guessing and wondering if I'm going to bloat or be gassy or have inflammation or feel like crap tomorrow because I ate something bad. All right. So if you are riddled with inflammation, again, I would really hone in on your food and make sure that food is your medicine. Let's see. One last question from this week. Rachel, she asked about a sugar swap. Said that sugar was a struggle for her. And I always cut out sugar right away. Always for my patients because sugar feeds cancer, sugar feeds inflammation. It is just the culprit of a lot. So I love liquid stevia. Better. I think it's now Better Foods. I get it on Amazon. Happy to send you the link. It is the purest form of stevia that I can find. It doesn't have a bad taste in it. I also have another one. It's in a purple packet. It has a bicycle on it, and I cannot think of the name right now, but I'm happy to share it in the show notes. But pretty much you can use those just as you would sugar, and I think they're sweeter, so you need less of it. Um, you could do things like dates, and dates are great too. You can put peanut butter or almond butter in dates, any type of nut butter in dates. Um, I've been doing a lot of research too on nut butters. So instead of just doing raw nuts, try doing more nut butters because your body digests it better. It doesn't cause inflammation. Sometimes the raw nuts can cause inflammation. So just some food for thought. All right. Um, if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. 251-635-7477. My email is Cindy at drcindyross.com. And again, it is about 32 minutes in, and I always appreciate you guys tuning in. I adore you and appreciate you so much. I know it's your Thursday evening, and you spent it with me for the last 32 minutes. I really enjoy doing these lives and I love sharing information and I'm super passionate about it. So keep your questions coming and I hope the information is helping you even just a tiny little bit. All right, I hope you guys have a great night and I will see you next week. Thanks everybody for tuning in, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. All right, have a great night. Bye bye.